Okay, the time now is 5:30. We will start the Monday, June 20th, 2022 Finance and Purchasing Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Moiseo. Here. Alderman Hayes.
Present.
Alderman Florian.
Present.
Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Newsom.
Present. We have a quorum. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from May 16th, 2022?
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Florian. Are there any questions to the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item D, public comment regarding anything on the agenda for finance and purchasing. Being none, we'll move on to new business. Item A, motion to authorize the proper city officials to enter into a lease agreement with Flock Group Incorporated for an automatic license plate reader, ALPR system, in the amount of $63,500 to cover the initial installation and usage for fiscal year 2022-2023. Can I get a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Alderman Florian.
Seconded.
Alderman Hayes. The Waukegan Police Department is requesting to enter into an agreement with Flock Safety to purchase 20 ALPR cameras. The cameras will be mounted throughout the city of Waukegan on fixed poles. The cameras will be used for law enforcement. Data will be shared with other local law enforcement agencies. Zion is currently using Flock. Lake County and Gurnee are moving forward with Flock. Flock is being installed on many Chicago area expressways by the Illinois State Police. The initial cost to begin this project installation and setup will be $63,500. This payment will come out of line item 296-6296-26494. And this is a annual of the installation. The annual cost will be $52,500, and the city can get out or terminate the contract at any time for $500. Are there any questions? Alderman Florian?
Yes, I'm wondering, you said there's going to be 20 cameras on 6 poles?
I don't know how many poles. I know
Oh, I
it's
thought
going
you
to be
said
20.
6.
No,
Oh.
20 cameras.
How are we going to decide where we put them? We, I say.
I think it's,
So, the initial determination, we have received a preliminary report from Flock, who did a study off of our crime stats in the city of Waukegan, and they've recommended 20 spots to us where they think it would be most effective for these cameras to be. I'm not going to say that we are agreeing that all those are the exact spots, but they're probably a lot of the spots that we would have chosen at this point in time. So, but we have not finalized that list yet.
Okay. And then, I know when we talked about ShotSpotter, it was kind of like once you put it in, you were stuck basically with where they put it. Are these more fluid if we need them moved, or?
We probably could have them moved, though that's probably not recommended. We're probably going to want them to stay in the main spots where we put them in originally.
I
Okay.
think it said that there's an additional fee
Yeah,
if
for
you
moving.
move them.
Yeah, they're not, it's not like our speed trailer where you can move these around. They are permanently installed.
Okay.
And I believe that we are leasing this equipment. The equipment belongs to Flock.
Correct. We do not own any of the equipment. They are responsible for the equipment.
And then, I'm sure people are going to figure out where they're at relatively quickly. Are they obvious where they're at?
I'll say maybe some people will, but I'll also say some people won't. We have, unfortunately or fortunately, have had red light cameras in our city for a long time, and people still haven't figured those out, unfortunately. So.
You're right. And those are, they even put a sign up saying there's a red light camera here. You're right. Okay. All right, thank you for that.
Are any of these able to be put on a trailer so that they can be mobile, or
These are not, no.
No, okay.
Not with this company that we went with there's always additional stuff that we can do through Flock if we so choose. This is the contract that we came up with them was for 20 permanently installed throughout the city.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I have a question, Chief. Is there any way we can get a list of those locations that
Absolutely.
you're putting the cameras in?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
I can send that out to you tomorrow on what their recommendations were.
Okay.
And you'll send that to all of us?
I'll send it to everyone.
And their recommendation is based on,
Our crime data that they have looked at over the past several years.
Okay.
Based off what we report in our crime data reports.
gotcha. Great. Thank you, Chief.
One of the things I will note, because Flock is working with a number of clients that our firm works with, is that unlike ShotSpotter, which is really looking at one incident occurring, a shot being fired in a very specific geographical area, the Flock system is kind of a mesh network that it works. When you have communities that have it next to each other, cars can literally be followed from camera to camera, and so it's not always that a camera would always be in a hot spot, but it would be in a place where it would connect to the larger kind of network to ensure that someone would be kind of captured by the network.
And you mentioned, I think you said it or Alderman Newsom did, that Zion has it?
Actually, I don't remember all the communities. If Mr. Murdoch wants to come up here, he is the sales rep for Flock. I don't know. A lot of communities around here have it.
I appreciate you guys giving me some time to come up here and speak. So current in Lake County, Waukegan, Libertyville, Vernon Hills, Mundelein, Zion, Glencoe, might not be in Lake County.
Over.
Northbrook all currently have cameras. North Chicago, Highland.
Can you move closer to the microphone? I'm sorry.
There's another probably 6 or 7 communities that have them in their budgets for the next financial year, or have approved them, and we're currently redlining a contract.
So you did mention North Chicago.
North Chicago, they have communicated to Flock that they have the money set aside for Flock cameras for the back half of this year. They have not signed their contract yet, but they have communicated to us they plan on.
Because, I mean, that would be very helpful.
Gurney's another one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be really helpful if all of us, okay.
There's also cameras in Park
City?
Park City.
All right, thank you for clarifying that.
Are there any more questions?
Yes, you may have mentioned, but how many are we receiving?
20.
20?
Yes, ma'am. Any more questions? Roll call, please. Thank you, sir.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye, motion carried. Item B, motion to authorize the proper city officials to approve payment to Lindell Marine Service Contractors for emergency water main repairs in the amount of $60,000 pursuant to the bona fide operating emergency exception, Section 2-458, subsection I, subsection 2. Can I get a motion on the floor?
I'll motion.
Alderman Rivera,
Second.
second by Alderman Florian. Are there any questions to the motion? Being none, roll call, please.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item C, motion to authorize the proper city officials to release payment of $202,768 to the Yeoman Creek Remediation Group Trust for the City of Waukegan's share of the 2022 cash call required for ongoing engineering and maintenance of the closed Yeoman Creek landfill. Can I get a motion on the floor?
I'll motion.
Alderman Rivera.
Second.
Second by Alderman Florian. Are there any questions to this motion? Alderman Florian.
I know we've been paying this, and we have to pay this by a decree by a judge and all of that, but does this ever end, or?
I don't know when it's
So,
going
Good question.
It's a very good question. The Yeomanville Creek landfill is a Superfund site which is administered by, it's monitored by the EPA, both the federal and the Illinois EPA, and it is administered by a remediation group which consists of various stakeholders who either owned a part of or contributed waste to the landfill over the years. They include firms that you might call former polluters. They include the school district, the city, and every year they have to come up with a budget basically to maintain the cap, the remedy that was prescribed by the EPA for this. That budget is around $600,000. We pay a large sum of, actually it's about $800,000. We pay a large sum of it. The good news is that a part of the Yeoman Creek landfill is actually going to be reused by BQ Energy for a solar farm generation.
That's right.
That part of the landfill is actually being leased by BQ, and the proceeds from that lease, the rent that they're paying on that section of the landfill, will go towards paying down the operating costs and reducing those over time.
Whose
So
portion?
it's a wonderful deal because Waukegan residents will have a chance to get lower cost, greener power, and the remediation costs will be offset by the lease payments.
But it never ends.
What will happen is over time is that the cost of it, as the site goes from an active management to a passive management, the cost of it will go down. And active management means you need to have air pumps and fans. After a certain time, landfills that have been sufficiently protected do kind of settle into an inert state, and they can be passively managed. When the EPA approves that, the cost of the remedy year to year will go down.
Okay.
The other entities that are responsible for payment are BFI, Allied Waste, Goodyear, Dexter, Axel Noble, and the Waukegan School District. Are there any more questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item D, motion to authorize the proper city officials to make a payment to Capanella and Sons for emergency water main repairs in the amount of $126,000 pursuant to the bona fide operating emergency exception, section 2-458, subsection I, subsection 2. Can I get a motion on the floor, and then I'll read the remainder of this?
So moved.
Alderman Florian,
Second. Second.
Alderman Moiseo.
Second, yeah.
The Water Utilities Department recommends a waiver to the competitive bidding process due to a bona fide operating emergency. Per subsection 2-458, subsection I2, the Water Utilities Department is requesting the approval for the payment of $26,000 invoice for emergency water main repair to Capanella and Sons. In addition to the request, our department would like to add additional spending authority of $100,000. So in totality, the Water Utilities Department is requesting spending authority for emergency water main breaks for an amount not to exceed $126,000. This will come from line item 556-91602-7043, bond funds. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo. Aye. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item E, motion to authorize the proper city officials to purchase one fire engine from Seagrave Fire Apparatus LLC in the total amount of $777,743 pursuant to the sole source exception, Section 2-458, subsection I, subsection 1. This fire engine will be replacing a 2002 model that we currently have as our only reserve fire engine. Even though we would purchase the vehicle when approved, the current build time of a new engine is between 500 and 640 days due to a chassis and chip shortage. With this purchase, our reserve engine would be a 2011 model. Can I get a motion on the floor?
So moved.
I'll second.
Alderman Florian, second by Alderman Rivera. And this engine purchase is included in the fiscal year 2023 budget. Are there any questions?
I have
Alderman
one.
Florian?
I don't know if the chief can answer this. I'm just curious what we're going to do with the old one once we get the new one. And I'm actually going to have the same question from item F, so if you just want to answer both of them while you're up here, if that's appropriate.
So we might keep it as a second reserve engine.
Okay,
Otherwise, we're actually in the process of working with Margaret Carrasco to donate one to Mexico.
okay,
We have a ladder truck that is has been replaced already, and we are either going to send it to Public Works. Otherwise, I've submitted to her, letting her know that we have it, and she is trying to find paperwork to go ahead and find out how we do that, how we donate it to somebody down in Mexico. So
it's not really, I'm assuming, sellable?
it is in really bad shape.
Okay, and then what about the vehicle that you're replacing, the command vehicle?
So a bunch of our command vehicles are very old also. So that will actually I believe George Sellis is going to take one. So we're going to send it over to, if it's not usable by George, then it's going to go, it's going to be sold at Public Works.
Okay,
So
Thank you.
I believe the one that's going away is a 1997 Ford Expedition.
oh, wow.
Yes, she's beautiful.
Good job keeping that running.
Any other questions? Thank you.
That is item E. Can we have a roll call, please?
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item F, motion to authorize the proper city officials to purchase one command vehicle from John Jones Automotive Group in the total amount of $52,666 pursuant to the sole source exception, Section 2-458, subsection I-1. The fire department is requesting approval for the purchase of a 2022 Dodge Durango for a new command vehicle to replace the fire department's aging fleet. This purchase would be through the John Jones Automotive Group at their government rate. These vehicles will come completely outfitted as needed for command vehicles. The total cost of this acquisition would be $52,666. This vehicle would replace a vehicle that is in disrepair and is in need of extensive repairs. Funding for this item is available in line item 205-1205-26493. Are there, can I get a motion on the floor? Motion by Alderman Florian, second.
Seconded.
Second by Alderman Hayes. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item G, motion to authorize the proper city officials to enter into a 3-year contract with OSG for water and sewer billing, bill printing, mailing, and e-bill services for an estimated monthly cost of $2,428.50. Can I get a motion on the floor?
I'll motion.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by
Second.
Alderman Florian. Okay, the The last request for proposals for utility billing services was in 2017. The current contract was with our vendor, Cebris Incorporated, was extended through the end of August 2022. Since the city of Waukegan had been under contract with Cebris since 2014, the finance department recognized that it was time to initiate a request for proposals. RFP searched to find a vendor that could satisfy the ever-changing and evolving needs of city water. There were 4 proposals received. And are there any questions? Well, let me get, I got a motion on the floor. Are there any questions to this motion? Alderman Florian.
I love how you always look at me first. I'm curious how much we pay now for this service.
Waiting for Sean, he has the paper.
Oh, I'm like, sorry, Sean.
So the current average is $3,692.
Woohoo. And we're gonna get better service from these people?
They actually have backups to their current mailing people. So if COVID hits this facility, it'll go to another facility that'll mail everything for us.
Excellent. Great job finding a new company, saving us money. I love it. Hopefully, it goes smoothly. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Are there any other questions?
I would like to point out, we had a lot of questions when we did our budget and what the budget meant and how does this all work? This is an example where we probably budgeted the old amount, right? And now we have this new amount because it changed. And the budget was just the blueprint, just the plan we had at the time. We didn't know what the future was going to hold. Now we have a new number that comes in, so there'll be a surplus of money compared to what we planned for, right? Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 3, reports and communications. You want to go through those,
Sure, if you want to,
Mr. Schultz?
you look at the consumption report.
Yes. And I need you to talk closer in the mic.
Consumption report shows 205,000 gallons of water in May, an increase of 8,000 over the prior month. In revenue, it's 1.2 million. If you look at the next report, business and rental licenses, we had 16 applications for a new business license. Three have been approved, 2 are pending, and 11 are currently undergoing interdepartmental review.
Yes, so I can't put my finger on it right now, but one of the issues I have a lot come before me are home businesses, and I've brought this up before. And I can't remember, there was one in here, I want to say that was some kind of a construction company or something. I'm having trouble finding it now.
There's a Richie's Fencing.
Yeah, okay, so is that a home address there?
On Lloyd, 1917 Lloyd.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, like, what kind of, like, is this gonna come in front of planning and zoning? And like, this guy's not gonna be storing a bunch of fencing around his property, is he? Like, how do we manage this stuff? I contend, and I will contend, neighborhoods are for living, not for doing business. And if you've got a guy who's got a bunch of fencing, that he's gonna be loading and unloading and trucks coming and going. And I just got a complaint the other day. There's a guy that has some kind of a, I don't know if it's landscape or some kind of construction, but he's approved to have this in his home, but like it's a dead-end street. So when he's getting his workers out in the morning, he blocks the entire street. And people that are trying to go to work from the dead end can't go to work because these trucks are in the way. And I get frustrated for them because you shouldn't have to deal with that in your neighborhood, in my opinion. So anyway.
So the process is when we receive the application, we send it out to the departments, so it does go through planning and zoning, building, and fire before it can get approved.
But it doesn't come before the planning and zoning committee necessarily, unless they need like a conditional use permit. So that, we need to somehow clamp down on this process, in my opinion, though. Because, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way up here, but in my opinion, you shouldn't have to deal with a business like this in your neighborhood, even though it's allowed under our current rules or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want to live next door to that.
Just a brief question. When they do apply and it is a home-based business, do we tell them what they can and cannot do as far as parking vehicles, like Alderman indicated, landscaping vehicles in the front?
I believe there's
Turn that over
ordinances.
to George.
Yeah.
Good evening. So when the businesses apply for a home base, they get approved by planning and zoning, but one of the comments usually from planning and zoning is that they cannot park any work vehicles out in the open. So if they have like an enclosed fence in the back with a parking pad legally where they can park, they're allowed to park there, but they can't have trucks just parked up in the front. Because we did have a couple landscape businesses that wanted to do that, and we told them no.
What about other businesses, though? Like I have someone that has, I think, some kind of construction business, and he always parks his trucks in front of his house.
So if we see that, we can go out and cite them for the parking their truck, but
Okay.
you mentioned before about having the material. If they have the material enclosed somewhere, that's not something that we can do. We just can't have it just scattered all over the property. So, I mean, I've dealt before with plumbing companies that have all their plumbing pipes sitting in the backyard. Well, they can't do that. They have to be stored somewhere then they use up usually their garages and sheds to store all that material.
But initially, we do set the expectation as far as what they can park, what they can't park, and where they can store.
Correct.
Okay, all right, good.
And planning and zoning does put it on their notes saying you cannot park your vehicles outside.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you.
And what about blocking the street?
If they're blocking the street, I believe that would become a police issue, and they should call the non-emergency police number for that.
We've had, Alderman Flynn, we've had this problem forever up here of home businesses that don't do it, try to skirt around it. Yeah, it needs to be buttoned up. We used to require, if you have a home business, and let's say they got 3 or 4 trucks, they had to get a city sticker too because it's registered in the city of Waukegan. So yeah, that's something that we need to look at for sure. We had a big brouhaha, I don't know, probably 10 years ago about daycare centers in neighborhoods. You're right on. People that live in residential neighborhoods, it should be a residential neighborhood, not a combination of. How we button that up, I maybe have to look at our ordinances and make sure that we have everything buttoned up. That's another thing to put on the plate of code, the building department and this and that. But we probably need to take a look at that again and button it up. Yeah, it's a problem. And I think during COVID, we probably let a lot of it go because people are trying to get their hustle and make their money, and I get that. But, now we may have to start buttoned up a little bit better because, yeah, people don't want to live next to a business unless they, unless it's over there and it butts up to a business district. Neighborhoods are for neighborhoods, not businesses. So, yeah, we need to button it up for sure.
I will say that I think this falls under that same category as a conditional use, and no one's really following up on that conditional use to make sure that that resident or home business or whatever is doing exactly what they are supposed to be doing. So is planning and zoning or the building department going to be working with planning and zoning to make sure that those conditions that they put in place will be carried out?
So we are hiring that position that you guys all approved for the license and zoning officer. That position, that will be one of their duties, is to follow up on zoning issues like that, the conditional use permits and also licenses that haven't been paid for, people that open up a business without getting a license and all that. So that is one of the things that I'm hoping to get somebody to get in here and get them to do that. So they will be following up on all the little zoning issues, you know, home businesses. They will be dealing specifically with businesses, where code enforcement kind of deals with the way the property looks. They will be dealing specifically with like the businesses and different zoning aspects.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the interest of time, I know we're 15 minutes over, the next committee starting. The rest of the reports, is it okay if everyone just looks at them? And if
Absolutely.
they have any questions, to contact Finance Department, Mr. Schultz or Ms. Sherry Martinez. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Can I
Motion to
entertain
adjourn.
a motion to adjourn by Alderman Rivera, second by, nobody wants to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Alderman Florian? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We will adjourn at 6:01 PM. Thank you.